My girlfriend said, "You always try to fix things. Some things should break." I said, "That's the first honest thing you've ever said." What I broke next left her regretting ever speaking. She thought she was being clever, delivering some deep, poetic truth like she was in a movie. But to me, those words weren't clever. They were a confession. A confession that I had been killing myself trying to keep something alive that was already rotten. I used to think fixing things was a strength. That if I held on long enough, worked hard enough, loved deep enough, I could save us. But in that moment, hearing her say those words with a smirk, I realized something. I wasn't fixing love. I was fixing a weapon she used against me. And for the first time, I decided to stop. Because maybe, just maybe, she was right. Some things should break. And I was about to show her exactly what that looked like. She said, "You always try to fix things. Some things should break." And in that moment, I realized she wasn't just talking about our fight. She was talking about us. About me. About the way I'd carried the entire weight of the relationship while she tossed matches at everything I tried to hold together. I wasn't born a fixer. I didn't grow up with some desperate need to hold broken things. But somewhere along the line, probably around the first time she called me too emotional for expressing how I felt, I learned to start patching holes just to avoid the explosions. Amber didn't start out this way. Or maybe she did and I just didn't see it. At first, it felt like love. She'd get upset, and I'd step in. I'd listen, I'd stay up all night talking her through her spiral. I'd cancel plans to be there for her. I'd say sorry just to calm her down, even when I didn't do anything wrong. Back then, I told myself, this is just what love looks like when someone's been hurt before. But slowly, love started looking more like walking on eggshells. It was the little things that added up. Like how she'd make subtle jabs at the things I was proud of. I'd be excited about a new idea or a promotion at work, and she'd respond with a flat, "That's cool, I guess." Or how she'd ignore my texts for hours, and when I finally asked if everything was okay, she'd say, "God, not everything is about you." But when she needed me, I was supposed to drop everything. I remember once, I missed an important meeting because she had a meltdown over something her friend said on Instagram. I stayed on the phone with her for an hour, talking her down, reassuring her. My boss wasn't impressed. I got written up. But she smiled when I told her, "See, you care. You're always there when I need you." And I believed that was a compliment. Looking back now, I realize she didn't love me. She loved what I could do for her. I became the fixer because it was easier than dealing with the storm that followed when I didn't. Because if I didn't clean up her mess, I'd be punished, emotionally, mentally, sometimes even publicly. The thing is, I thought this made me strong. I thought being the one who stayed calm, the one who cared more, made me the better partner. But it didn't. It made me the one who got hurt the most. By the time she made that comment about letting things break, I'd already been bleeding for months. The late-night arguments. The jealousy games. The guilt-tripping. She'd flirt with other guys and then say I was insecure. She'd tell me I was too much when I opened up about my anxiety. She'd call me dramatic when I said I didn't feel safe in the relationship anymore. And still, I stayed. Because I kept thinking I could fix it. That if I just said the right thing, gave her more time, loved her harder, it would finally click. But it didn't. Because she didn't want to grow. She wanted me to shrink. And that night when she said, "Some things should break," I finally realized. She didn't mean the relationship. She meant me. And for the first time, I decided not to let her break me anymore. After that night, something inside me changed, but I didn't let her see it. She woke up the next morning like nothing happened. Kissed me on the cheek, asked if I wanted coffee, started talking about weekend plans like she hadn't just shattered the last bit of my emotional patience the night before. And I just nodded. I went along with it. Quiet. Watching. For the first time, I wasn't reacting. I was observing. Every word she said, every move she made, every manipulative little tactic she used to keep control of me. It was like seeing the relationship from the outside for the first time, and suddenly everything looked different. I started connecting dots. All the time she isolated me from friends, subtly at first, saying things like, "I just don't get good vibes from him," or "She clearly flirts with you." And like a fool, I distanced myself. One friend at a time, I lost my circle. Until she was the only person I had left. I remembered how she made me feel guilty for working late, saying I didn't care about us, while she posted flirty comments under some guy's gym selfie. How she'd punish me with silence if I didn't react the way she wanted. How every disagreement turned into an attack on my character. I wasn't forgetful, I was irresponsible. I wasn't stressed, I was unstable. I wasn't sad, I was too emotional. And the worst part? I believed her. I thought maybe I really was hard to love. That I had to prove I was worthy by being endlessly patient, endlessly understanding, endlessly forgiving. But that morning, something inside me was steel. I kept my voice soft, my eyes still, my tone neutral. But in my head, I was done. She kept poking. She didn't like the silence. She tried to bait me into reacting. "You've been weird lately. Are you mad at me or something?" I shrugged and said, "Just thinking a lot." And that bothered her. Because Amber wasn't used to me thinking without her permission. She tried to guilt me into opening up, said things like, "I feel like you're emotionally distant." Which was hilarious, because I had been emotionally bleeding for 2 years and she never once asked what I needed. But now, when I wasn't jumping through hoops to fix her mood, she wanted answers. I didn't give her any. I didn't raise my voice. I didn't argue. I didn't defend myself. I just stopped engaging. She accused me of cheating. I smiled and said, "Nope." She cried on the couch one night and said, "You're not the same person I fell in love with." And I thought to myself, good. Because the person she fell in love with? That was the guy who gave and gave and gave, while she drained him dry. Now she was starting to feel the cold space where my heart used to be. And instead of fixing it, I let it stay broken. I let her sit in the silence she created. She was right, after all. Some things should break. She just never thought she'd be one of them. She thought I was sulking. That I was being dramatic or trying to get attention. What she didn't know was, I was preparing. Quietly, strategically, carefully. No more yelling, no more pleading, no more trying to get her to see my side. I was done explaining myself to someone who was never listening to begin with. I started packing mentally before I ever packed a single bag. Every day, I took one small step toward leaving. I stopped sharing my plans, stopped telling her about my work, my goals, my thoughts. I created distance in plain sight, and she didn't even notice, because she was too busy thinking I'd come crawling back like I always did. I opened a separate bank account. Just a little at first, transferring small amounts from every paycheck so she wouldn't notice. I called around, looking for apartments in the next city over. I told my best friend, one of the few people she hadn't managed to push out of my life, that I was done. That I needed out. He offered me his spare room while I figured things out. I accepted. The only thing I didn't do was tell her. Because Amber didn't deserve a warning. Not after all the emotional landmines she'd made me tiptoe through for 2 years. She kept playing games like everything was fine. Posting carefully curated photos of us smiling, tagging me in relationship goals memes, even suggesting we take a weekend trip together. I nodded through it all. I wasn't interested in arguing anymore. I was interested in peace. And I knew I wouldn't find it under the same roof as her. The final moment came on what would have been our 3rd anniversary. She expected the usual. Flowers, a dinner, a handwritten note from me telling her how grateful I was to have her in my life. What she got was a small gift box. Inside was our apartment key. Just the key. Nothing else. She laughed at first. "What is this supposed to be? A prank?" I looked her straight in the eye. "It's me letting go. You said some things should break. This is broken. I'm done trying to fix it." The silence that followed was unlike any she'd ever given me before. It wasn't cold or punishing, it was stunned. Real. Her face didn't show anger. It showed fear. For the first time, I think she understood that I wasn't bluffing. She tried to argue. You're really just giving up? No, I said. I gave up months ago. I'm just finally moving like it. She followed me to the door as I picked up the single duffel bag I'd packed earlier. So that's it? You're just walking away. I'm walking towards something better. Something that doesn't need fixing every single day just to function. She didn't say a word as I walked out. Maybe she thought I'd come back. Maybe she still believed I couldn't live without her. But I had been living without her long before I ever left. The only difference now, I was finally free. After I left, I expected the silence. I even welcomed it. What I didn't expect was how fast the silence turned into chaos. Hers, not mine. For the first 3 days, she said nothing. No texts. No calls. Not a single, "Where are you?" She probably thought it was just another one of my emotional phases that would pass like all the others I'd pushed through. That I'd crawl back once the guilt kicked in. But this time, there was no guilt. Only relief. Then, day 4 hit. It started with a simple text. "Can we talk?" I ignored it. Then came another. "I miss you. I don't know what's going on with you lately, but this doesn't feel like us." Funny, because us hadn't felt like us in a long time, unless us meant me carrying a one-sided relationship like a tired man dragging a sinking boat. Then she switched tactics. "Guilt. After everything I've done for you, you're really just ghosting me?" That made me laugh. Everything she had done for me? The emotional manipulation. The public humiliation. The belittling, the silence, the control. If anything, I owed her a thank you card for finally giving me the push I needed to walk away. Still, I stayed silent. That's when she escalated. Her Instagram suddenly turned into a highlight reel of forced fun and fake healing. Inspirational quotes about loving yourself and walking away from toxic people. Ironic, considering she was the toxic person. Selfies with guys I'd never seen before. Captions like, "Sometimes you realize what you deserve." The usual performance. And I watched. Unbothered. Because I wasn't trying to win. I had already won. She started texting mutual friends. One of them called me. "Dude, Amber's freaking out. She's telling everyone you just disappeared, that she has no idea what happened." I replied calmly, "She knows exactly what happened. She just doesn't want to admit it." What she didn't realize was, while she was spiraling, I was building. I'd started working on myself the second I left. I picked up hours at work, started cooking again, working out, fixing my sleep. I reconnected with people she'd pushed away. I went out and didn't have to explain where I was every 5 minutes. I was happy. She, on the other hand, was unraveling. By the end of the week, she showed up at my friend's house, where I was temporarily staying, with tears in her eyes and a fake smile plastered on her face. "I just want to talk," she said. I looked her in the eye and said, "You already did. The night you told me some things should break." She paused, confused. "You can't seriously be ending everything over one comment." I shrugged. It wasn't one comment. It was 2 years of them. Her voice broke. "But I never thought you'd actually leave." "That's the problem," I said. "You never thought I could." She started crying, right there on the front porch. She tried to hug me. I didn't move. "You don't even care anymore, do you?" I smiled gently. "I finally care about myself." Then I closed the door. She didn't stop after that. Amber never knew how to lose gracefully. Especially not when the person walking away was the one she thought she'd trained to stay no matter what. She started testing my boundaries like a child poking a fence, hoping to find a weak spot. Random texts like, "I left your hoodie here, want me to drop it off?" As if a piece of cloth could rewind the damage she'd caused. I didn't respond. Then came the accidental likes on my old photos, and even a message to my sister asking if I was okay. I was more than okay. I was the most free I'd felt in years. I think it slowly began to dawn on her that I wasn't just playing hard to get, I was done. And that scared her. Because Amber wasn't used to being the one left behind. She was used to being the one who slammed doors and made people beg at them. Now she was outside the door, and I wasn't even on the other side anymore. A few weeks passed. Then one night, I bumped into her at a mutual friend's housewarming. She didn't know I'd be there. The moment our eyes met, I saw it. The shock. The nervous adjustment of her hair. The fake confident smile. And me. I just nodded politely and kept talking to the person next to me. She approached me in the kitchen later, trying to make small talk. I've been thinking about everything. I know I wasn't perfect, but neither were you. I chuckled. You're right. I wasn't perfect. My biggest flaw was staying too long. That shut her up for a second. She tried to twist the moment into something redemptive. I still believe we had something real. We did, I said. But I mistook survival for love. And I'm done surviving. She stood there frozen, glass in hand, as I turned away from the past we'd once shared and walked back toward a room filled with people who didn't make me feel like I had to earn the right to breathe. That night, I slept soundly. No guilt. No wondering. No rehearsing conversations I'd never have. Just peace. And a few days later, I got the last message I'd ever received from her. A long paragraph. Apologizing. Admitting she pushed me too far. Saying she missed me, that she'd do anything to go back and fix it. I stared at it for a moment. Then I deleted it. Because she was right all along. Some things should break. And she just never imagined she would be one of them.